Have you ever heard somebody say,
Oh man, I could never learn a language. That's way too hard. And I'm really bad with languages.
or have you said that? I hear this all the time. People are like, "Oh man, that's so cool. You learn Vietnamese. That's really cool. I could never do that. That's way too hard." And I'm always like, "Bro, I'm not that smart." I got horrible grades in middle school and high school. I was almost held back in middle school, in fact. So learning a language is not about being smart. It's really not. And the things we're going to talk about in this video are proven strategies, proven mindset shifts that have helped actual polyglots like Xiaomanyc learn tons of languages. And once you really understand these 3 points, you're going to be able to speed run any language like Xiaoma, who he learns languages within 24 hours. And point number one is to stop worrying about being fluent. Maybe being fluent is your long-term goal, but for now, don't think about that. Instead, break that long-term goal into much smaller goals. So maybe you're trying to learn a language for travel, or you're trying to learn a language for a job, or you're trying to learn a language like I did because your in-laws are part of that, culture from that country. Or maybe some other reason. I don't know. Drop in the comments what language you're learning and why you're learning it. But let's take travel, for example. That's the most common reason. If you're traveling to a country and you want to know some of the language so that you can get around, maybe not a lot of people in that country speak English, then what do you need to know how to talk about? You'll probably have to ask for directions. You might need to know how to order food in that language. You might need to ask what time things open or close, or what time a tour starts or something like that. But here's the thing, even if you learn how to talk about all of those topics, even if you learn how to talk about them perfectly in that language, you're not going to be fluent in the language, but it's going to serve the purpose that you need. And I'll get into the practicalities of this later on in the video, but what this means is you're not studying, the alphabet of this language, or you're not studying, all of the different colors that you could possibly say in this language. But you might want to learn, okay, well, how do I say, how much is this? Give me a cup of coffee, or where's the airport, or something like that. By breaking down your overall goal, which maybe ultimately is fluency, but by breaking that down into smaller categories and smaller goals, you're going to stay motivated. You're going to feel encouraged when you do reach these smaller goals. And it's going to make sure that you keep going and don't give up because you feel discouraged that you're not fluent after week 3 or something. And like I said, this is exactly what Xiaomanyc does. He doesn't become fluent in the language before he goes out and starts speaking it. I saw a video recently of him in Ireland speaking Gaelic, and he had to ask for help. So he was perfectly fine going out and trying to use the language, even though he knew he wasn't fluent. And maybe you say, yeah, but I don't want to do that, then I'm going to look stupid. Well, point number 2 is stop worrying about looking stupid. In fact, if you can change your entire view and encourage yourself to look stupid in your target language, that is going to help you so much. This slowed me down big time early on in learning Vietnamese because I was so scared to speak the language, because Vietnamese is difficult. I mean, there's different tones. If you use the wrong tone, you could be like saying a completely different word. That's scary to just come out of the gate and try to speak Vietnamese. But if I would have done that earlier on and not been so afraid of looking stupid, I would have made so much more progress by now. And the reality is you're not going to make progress unless you speak and make stupid mistakes and look stupid and embarrass yourself. And no one's going to be mad at you. No one's going to yell at you for saying the wrong word or something. I have a video where I went to speak Vietnamese to people in Little Saigon, California, and I ordered a mango smoothie, but I forgot the word for mango in Vietnamese, which was kind of embarrassing. Here I am out there trying to speak this language to people, trying to impress people and catch their reactions on camera, and then I embarrass myself by making a mistake or forgetting a word. But after ordering in my messed up broken Vietnamese, the lady was like, "Hey, your Vietnamese is really good." I was like, "Oh, okay. I didn't think so, but thank you." So people who speak your target language are generally going to be pretty forgiving of mistakes, especially when they realize that you're just learning the language, and they're going to help you along. But if you don't ever, step out and make that effort to speak that language in a real world situation, you're not actually going to progress. It's going to hold you back. So embrace looking stupid. If you're looking stupid, you're on the right track. I will never forget the word for mango in Vietnamese now because of that mistake. So I learned something. It's good. And if you're not making embarrassing mistakes while practicing and speaking the language in real world situations, then you're probably not challenging yourself enough. If you're like, well, I know how to order coffee in my target language, so I'm just going to go and do that over and over again. Okay, great. Now you know how to order coffee really well in that language. But when it comes to other things, you're going to be totally caught off guard, and you're going to just kind of stammer and be stuck. So that's one message that I really want to drive home. Just if you have embarrassing moments, if you have embarrassing mistakes, you're on the right track. You're doing the right thing. And point number 3 is to learn words and phrases first, and then worry about alphabet and grammar and all of that second. So I mentioned the first point that you should just learn what is relevant to you. If you're traveling, learn what is relevant to traveling. If you're trying to speak a language for work, then learn what you'll be talking about for work. Learn those categories first, and don't do so by learning the alphabet, all the different colors in the language, the grammar structure or nonsense words and phrases that you're never actually going to use in real life. Like one of the first things that I learned in Vietnamese was a phrase "con gà ăn con cá," which is the chicken eats the fish. When am I ever going to say that? How does that help me at all? Learn things that are actually useful to you, and then you can extrapolate grammar structures and things from that. So, for example, if I learn in Japanese, watashi no passporto wa doko desu ka? Where is my passport? Well, now I learned how to say mine of something, watashi no passporto, my passport, wa, okay, there's some grammar structure there, like kind of like is. Doko desu ka? So doko is where, desu ka, so ka desu ka at the end of a sentence is a question. So I've already learned a lot of grammar just by learning that one phrase. So if you focus on that instead, focus on even memorizing sentences, but really understanding them before you try to memorize them, you're going to understand the grammar structures that form those sentences inherently. It's kind of like when we're kids, we learn language by listening to our parents talk, by kind of memorizing what people say, context clues, things like that. We're never taught, hey, this is how you show possession. This is how you say, this is how you talk about yourself in the first person. Or here's a grammar structure. You know, we don't learn that stuff growing up. We just pick up the language from what we see around us. So if you focus on learning actual useful phrases in your target language and vocabulary, you're going to pick up grammar and things like that naturally without having to waste time studying them and trying to memorize like conjugations and stuff that you're actually not going to remember probably. All of that stuff will just come naturally. You don't have to waste time focusing on it at first. So those are the 3 shifts in mindset that will let you speedrun any language. Don't worry about being fluent. Focus instead on smaller goals and celebrate those small wins so that you'll stay motivated to actually keep learning that language. And this is going to involve actually using that language in real life, which is going to involve you making mistakes and possibly embarrassing yourself, probably embarrassing yourself, but that's okay. Embarrassing yourself is a good thing because that means you're challenging yourself and you're pushing your knowledge into new arenas of life, and you're learning new vocabulary sets, new grammar structures. You're learning new things whenever you're having a hard time, whenever you're embarrassing yourself. It's a good thing. It's a win. And lastly, avoid memorizing grammar structures or memorizing vocabulary words that you're never going to use. Instead, learn relevant phrases, phrases that are going to help you in your actual goal. And you'll pick up these things as you go. You'll pick up vocabulary words, you'll pick up grammar structures as you go along. You don't have to waste time actually focusing on those and making no real progress in the meantime. I really believe, and I've seen in myself, that if you change your mentality on these 3 areas, you will learn your language much faster than you thought possible. I mentioned earlier that I made a video where I was speaking Vietnamese to Vietnamese people and I embarrassed myself because I forgot the word for mango. If you want to watch that video, you can click up here. It'll pop up there. But drop in the comments some embarrassing mistakes you've made in your target language. I think, you know, sharing these moments will be encouraging for other people, because we're all scared of embarrassing ourselves. We want to impress people in our target language. We want people to think we're already fluent or whatever, and they know you're not. So if we share our failures like this, I think that'll encourage people to step out of their comfort zone from time to time. If this video was helpful to you, you can let YouTube know that you want to see more videos like this by liking it and subscribing to the channel. You can share this with a friend who you've been trying to convince to learn a language with you, and they just keep saying, no, 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 it's too hard or whatever. Send them this video and let them know that it's actually not that hard. Anyways, until I see you next time, cheers.